Hello, good morning. I think I hear an echo. One second. I apologize. I don't think all my tabs are closed. One moment. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. I see Mama B's, the moderator, in here. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And welcome to Sandra P's Gen Extra. We are here for part two of the Real Housewives of Miami. This is a live review for this crazy reunion, y'all. This is part two. Season 7, part 2 of this reunion. Y'all, this is still a mess. Welcome in. Everybody, please click the like button. If you're not a subscriber, please go ahead and subscribe. Welcome, Sharon. I'm going to put everyone's welcoming comment in. There's Mama B saying Grand Rising to myself, the chat, and the mods. Thank you so much. And Sharon Galbo, good morning to myself and the chat. And also directly to Sharon Galbo and Mama Bees to each other. Thank you all so much for coming in. I appreciate it. And this is part 2 of a 3-part reunion. I don't understand some of the 3-part reunions. This one has been juicy so far, but I feel like they are stretching it out because of everything that's happening. So I've taken a lot of notes, but it might not be in order. I think I'll just go through and talk about some of the crazier moments. Of course, we ended on a really crazy moment. So we'll start there. Of course, Andy is focused and fixated on Julia or Julia, who Adriana has outed her as some type of spy. Adriana she going off. So where we pick up where we left off, Julia says, "What, Andy? I know and Adriana knows, but you do not know. Adriana and I slept together." So everyone has shocked faces on, including the audience. All of us were waiting with bated breath. I was waiting just to find out the details. Andy is kind of shocked. He's never had this happen before. He's trying to figure out which questions he's going to ask Julia. Adriana is laughing at first. She's laughing. Julia claims, "I suffered mental and psychological abuse since this happened 4 years ago. And 4 years ago, I was in a hard place." The right side of the couch from Andy, which is Guerdy, Lisa, Stephanie, of course, in the didn't earn it first chair, are sitting there looking like shocked. The other side is also shocked. Larsa didn't look too surprised, but I'm not sure if Larsa can look surprised. I don't know. I have to look at her a little more and see what's going on. So Julia claims she's suffering all this abuse at the hands of Adriana. Guerdy and Lisa, of course, just like, oh, gosh, she's so manipulative. They're giving all of these sidebars. Stephanie's just shocked. She's sitting with her mouth hanging open. So Kiki asked a pretty good question. She says, was this before or after the friend engagement? Production helpfully shows us the friend engagement. I remember this vaguely. I think this might have been season, I won't even give a season. I don't remember. I'm not sure if they went to the Hamptons or where they were, but it was very awkward. Julia jumped down to one knee. "Adriana, be my friend for life." And it was not the friendship contract with Cynthia and Nene. That was innocent. That was funny. We found out later, Cynthia thought, "Oh, I think I'm going to lose my job." And Carlos King let her know, "You bought another season," because we all found it corny, endearing, kind of cute. It was nothing like this foolishness, y'all. We got a married woman basically proposing to a single woman, and the two of them sleeping together on trips. One of them acting like they're only sleeping. The other one feel like she's in a full-on affair, and I can't tell you who's telling the truth yet, okay? So we find out Julia says this is after the friend engagement. Production shows Adriana saying all that she had done for Kiki. "Adriana, you talk too much." We knew this was going to come back and bite her, because if Adriana has been holding this over Julia's head for all these years behind the scenes, like Julia's claiming, why is production only showing us this Christmas party where they were in the middle of a fight and Adriana is telling her, "I took you out of that ish hole and I introduced you to everybody you know"? Julia's saying, "She told me I owe her my paychecks the past 4 years, everything she's done for me the past 4 years, I was in a bad place. And Adriana is saying, I never would have told. I never would have told. And Andy is saying, okay, are you saying that when she was saying, okay, this is not going to be good for you, I'm going to spill some of your business? Is that what she's talking about? Julia says, yes. Adriana says, no, I still didn't tell. But since we're going there, everybody's looking. I'm like, what more else can you say? What, you're married. You've already admitted to cheating. One of them, I think Lisa, is like, does Martina know? Martina knows. And Andy said, did you told her that you were going to tell? And Lisa says, well, if she knows, why did you say anything? Why are you bringing it out here? And she's saying, because I got tired of this holding over my head. Julia, to me, is acting, y'all. Adriana, I still don't really believe, because the way they are on trips, I think that some of this could be true. I do. So the ladies try to figure out exactly what does sleep with meant, because it's taken literally because of the trips. We've seen these ladies share rooms for years, share the same bed for years. Production shows us a scene in the Hamptons. Adriana had just gotten her breast done by Lenny, who is Lisa's ex-husband, and she was sitting in a tub. I think she had maybe her hair covering her breast, but she was basically exposed. And Julia was extremely excited about that. So that's just what it was. So the ladies are trying to find out if just sleeping there or actual intimate activity of a relationship type nature. So some of the people don't believe it. He asked for a show of hands, y'all. They kind of have to iron out what they mean, because this whole thing was crazy. He asked for the show of hands. Lisa is saying an actual affair, or could it be a hookup? They end up asking Marisol. Marisol looks confused. I think Marisol is upset. I don't know if Julia kind of cued Marisol in on what was going to happen. We find out that she has been the puppet master. Alexia told us during the season that Marisol is the brains, but I am the mouthpiece because I'm willing to speak out, and she doesn't really speak out. So we knew that the bros were like a two-headed animal. So Marisol kind of is caught off guard as well. Andy asked her, do you think this could be true? Marisol, it says, long-term affair, I don't know, because now she's trying to protect Julia too. Julia, you might have messed yourself up with Martina. Martina act like an old man. Old men don't like to be embarrassed. You might have showed your slip a little too much with this one. We're going to see what's going to happen. So Marisol saying, a long-term affair, I don't know. Alexia saying maybe a hookup, I don't know. Sharon, I'm there with you. Adriana's reaction. First she started laughing, then she looked kind of shocked. Now she's sitting over there upset. Guerdy and Lisa are just kind of looking, okay? So Julia's telling us they were in such a bad place. We see different flashbacks. And I knew they had struggled and had problems, because Martina does seem grumpy. Martina had told Julia, shape up or I'm going to leave you. So Adriana's calling her. Ask her name, Andy. She's a spy. Julia, ask her name. Andy kind of makes light of that. Well, there's not a big change between Julia and Julia. I know what Adriana means, but Adriana, we're not talking about this right now. We're talking about this affair or hookup or whatever you want to call it. Julia, you are a married woman. And this is, to me, this is just not acceptable. This is not cute. Andy said, do you have an open marriage? Julia says, no, Andy, no, we don't have an open marriage. She's saying that Adriana wants to continue to hold this over her. And Marisol, so that's why she spilled it out. Marisol, why are you slurring? They've only been there a couple of hours. Every season, I can't stand this woman more and more. So Andy was asking Julia, why tell now? Julia's claiming she's telling now because Adriana was holding a secret over her head. Production keeps trying to help Julia out. Adriana says, okay, I was never going to tell what the secret was, but here I am. You were cheating on Martina with the Haitian mortician. The whole couch, all of the couches, including Andy, their mouths are hanging open. They're going crazy. New money. Stephanie is sitting there. Her mouth is an O. And then she just starts laughing out loud. Her and Lisa look at each other. They bust out laughing. Stephanie gets a tissue from somewhere and she's literally crying. She's wiping her eyes. Y'all, I didn't know Adriana was going to say that. She says, you were sleeping with a Haitian mortician. You had to bring the champagne. You had to pay for the hotel. And you had to buy him a coffee maker. Andy looks at Julia and says, "What kind of coffee maker?" Julia either said, "Oh, that's not true," or "It wasn't that way," or something like that. But Julia's lying. And Julia's a scary person. Julia lies with a straight face and a very flat affect. She's like, "Oh, that's not, it's not like that. That's not true." Everybody's cackling. So Alexia is saying, "We don't care about all of that. We just want to know about Adriana's affair." And Guerdy had to pipe up and say, "Well, Julia's the one that married, so why are you only holding Adriana to an affair? Adriana is single as a dollar bill." So speak for yourself, Alexia. I want to know about this Haitian mortician and also the cop. Why y'all didn't bring him up again? I assume it wasn't him. Why didn't you bring up the police officer again? So Kiki, watch your dad. This is crazy. Stephanie's sitting over there. Stephanie had the funniest reaction because she was laughing, then she was crying, and Lisa shot. Everybody's just shocked. So Adriana said, "She married a cheater and I'm the bad guy." Here's Julia. "I didn't say you were a bad guy. This lady is crazy. You've made her out to be a cheat. You said that was somebody that would cheat with a married woman. She has said that Adriana has been holding this over her head for years. She kept saying she's blackmailing me with it, but you're not making her out to be a bad guy. You're insinuating that Adriana's a bad person. This lady's crazy." Andy says, "We need a break." Everybody said, "Thank God." So they all get up to walk backstage. Julia's still trying to make her case with Andy. Andy's asking all these little questions. "Andy, you should save this for the reunion stage. I don't really like what's going on, but the camera's following them, so we'll allow it." He wants to know, so when was the first time this happened? Julia said the Hamptons. He said, "Did it happen any more than that?" She says, "Well, we actually slept together, intimacy, in the Hamptons, and then we fooled around at the Versace mansion." Alexia is right here, y'all. Julia's in the middle, Andy's on one side, and Alexia is right there on Julia's other side. At the Versace mansion, production helpfully shows us the Versace mansion. Y'all, it look almost like an orgy. Excuse me for 9:30 in the morning. Y'all know I try to be PG, but Andy Cohen, Julia, y'all have turned this into Real Housewives After Dark. I don't really care for this, but it's interesting, so we'll plow through. Okay. So Julia's walking, she's talking to Andy. Alexia's like, "Oh, that's kind of hot." So they retreat to their separate corners. Adriana is in there with Lisa, Jody. Adriana picks Basquiat up. Basquiat seemed kind of upset. He's like, Adriana said, "Basquiat, you won't believe it." She says, "You're going to need another godfather." All of Adriana's languages are coming together. "You're going to need another godfather." You know that Julia is Basquiat's, the dog's, godmother. So she's fired her. She said, "Because your godfather's a terrible person." I agree. So Julia's still trying to say what happened in the Hamptons, the Versace mansion. Yeah, this was just too much, especially the clips. So Lisa is sitting in the chair getting touched up and she's questioning her. "Well, Adriana, what was going on?" Alexia's in the other room lying. "I don't know what women do together. Did she," she's using the initials, not the initials. She's saying, "Did she EA?" Y'all, I can't even say it. I don't know. Errors and omissions insurance. I'm being too cryptic. "Did she," let's say eat. "Did she eat?" You don't know what happened. Why would you bring up that term, Alexia? I'm looking sideways at Alexia. Kiki says, "I watch a lot of corn. I actually know what happens." So at least Kiki is honest right now. And Lisa's questioning her, "Well, tell us what happened." And Jana said, "We fooled around a little bit. We might have kissed." Lisa is making a motion like with scissors. Okay, she got her fingers interspersed. I won't make the motion because I think it might be offensive, y'all. I can't believe these ladies were talking like this. So Lisa's questioning her, and Jana's claiming, "No, that didn't happen. I don't like it." Everybody busts out laughing. So Larsa is talking. The boyfriend, Jeff Colby, the men have been watching on the monitors. He's looking, he's interested. And so Larsa's trying to make an explanation for Julia, of course. She's in there with Stephanie. She's saying, "Well, Julia was at a bad time and you can just fall into something." So the boyfriend's actually laughing, but he's looking kind of puzzled. I'd look puzzled too, Jeff, because if Larsa's saying if y'all go through bad times, she could fall into something. And I don't think it has to be bad times. I think if she gets somebody that's actually actively playing in the league and he would look at her and take her and she could have a big name somebody, I think she would drop Jeff in a heartbeat. Thank you so much, Cece, for coming in. She's saying good morning to everyone. And I appreciate you having everyone. We got 5 likes, 9 in the chat. Everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this live Real Housewives of Miami. It's going to be all over the place because, y'all, these ladies are all over the place. They go to New York and act a fool. So now we're finding out about, Stephanie and Larsa are in there together. Now, their room was the funniest because they don't have a dog in the fight. And Stephanie, this is her first reunion, and she's just laughing. She says, they're killing me with the Haitian mortician. Nobody's going to ever beat the Haitian mortician. Larsa's like, no, you can't beat a Haitian mortician. Do you believe it? And Larsa said, I don't believe it. I think she's still trying to help Julia out. Larsa, you've been there when they've been bumping their boobies against each other and all this kind of stuff. I kind of believe it. I'm with Sharon now. I think I believe it, y'all. Even though Adriana reacted how she did, she had too many reactions. She was laughing. She was angry. And before she stormed off stage, she said, I would never go for someone like you. You're dirty. Oh. So I don't know. There could be some truth in it. And then they're talking about the Haitian mortician. They're still laughing about that. Larsa is now claiming she doesn't believe it. I don't believe her. Because on stage, didn't she raise her hand and get mad at Lisa? Oh, Lisa, come on, you know. She says, well, I don't know. I don't know if I believe it. And Stephanie said, yeah, Julia's a nymph. Yeah. So, Julia, are you a nymphomaniac? I'm not going to give you any title or say it's any type illness. Guerdy's in the room with Russell. Russ, you hear all that? Guerdy's eating her salad. Russell's going to wait to see Guerdy's lead. Guerdy says she's so manipulative. Of course, the 9-time engagement person doesn't know anything about commitment. So Russell agrees to that. He says she, lack of boundaries, something. He said she has no accountability. It wasn't lack of boundaries. I said lack of boundaries, but Russell says, yes, she has no accountability. So Guerdy says, 9 engagements later, she doesn't know how to be accountable or loyal to anyone. She has no loyalty. And this is true. Y'all, this is dirty of her to do to Martina. And now if Martina divorces her, she's still going to have spousal support. She's going to have child support. Julia's a slick one. She might be some type of spy. This is a mess, y'all. So Larsa and Stephanie are in their room laughing. All the other ladies are, getting put back together. Larsa's making excuses. Maddie Saul is laying pretty low. So I don't know if Maddie Saul knew about this. I don't know if she's upset because she doesn't get to pull strings. Julia's doing way too much. And I hope she's still not asked back. We don't need to know anymore, or put it on IG. I don't want to see her hash this out next season. So Julia's still telling them that Adriana was blackmailing her. Blackmailing her for what? I don't understand it. So Julia claims after 4 years, this has been 4 years since this happened. Adriana's still saying she's the one that married. You go around kissing everyone. Now, as Julia's still explaining, and she's in the other room, Adriana said, listen to them. They're in there getting their stories together. I'm going to go in there. So Adriana marches down the hall. She marches into the room, and she says, what are you doing? You getting your stories together? And Alexia and Maddie said, no, we're not getting stories together. We're just listening to Julia. Julia is like, we're not getting our stories together. I'm so sorry. She's sorry all of this happened. Julia is desperate. She is a desperate housewife. I don't like desperate Real Housewives. I want them to be able to have fun and get along, and it's not going to happen. Also, the other thing that happened, we ended last week with Andy asking whether or not she'd ever considered Adriana for the godmother or godfather. No, she did not, because she knew that she had slept with her. They had messed around. So they get back on stage. Larsa, they didn't have to touch her up. She'd already been shellacked before the show started. She's yelling, Adriana, close your legs. It freaks me out the way just her lips move and nothing else. Adriana, close your legs. Oh, I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying, because Adriana's out there like, she's over it. And Kiki's like, after that segment, so this is a mess. So I feel like they shouldn't do any more close-ups of Larsa, because it looks like she's wearing, how those wax lips that the kids used to have with the pack of gum? That's how she looks. Welcome in, dear Yvette. Thank you so much for coming in during the live. Andy didn't believe her. I don't believe Adriana now. I think even though Julia has more to lose, she is bolder. She'll throw anything against the wall to see what sticks. I think Adriana is embarrassed. Plus, she's claiming she didn't like it. She doesn't like that type stuff. But together, they were all doing all this kissing and stuff. Take a good look at her when they show her close up. I don't know how much production likes Larsa because they're doing way too many close ups. So he switches back over to Kiki. Y'all, he went from this foolishness. He'd had enough. He went from this foolishness to Kiki. Kiki, we're so glad to see you with your dad. Kiki's like, yeah, I got kicked out by my dad at 15. We didn't get together until 10 years later. We're building, we're making baby steps. I don't know how I feel about the Levesque storyline. I feel like he's kind of using Kiki, and he got comfortable on camera toward the end, which I don't love. Remember when Stephanie threw the Christmas party and she was giving the proceeds of the Haitian-inspired drink, Kiki-inspired drink, to a Haitian charity? Kiki was speaking. It was very heartwarming, and Levesque was right there. He was right there. I didn't care for that. But Andy thought it was interesting that Kiki found out on camera that she has a little brother that's 3 years old. And she's like, your dad's young. He's young. Larsa has to say the dad's young because Larsa is 51. She might be Kiki's dad age. I don't know. She's talking about freezing her eggs. I forgot to mention that, or maybe it didn't come yet. Andy had the nerve to ask this woman, do you want more children? He might want more children. So somebody, I think it was Guerdy, was saying, does he already have children? Oh, he's talking about my children. Larsa, your children are almost the age of Jeff. Andy finds out that Jeff is 31. So Larsa's saying, oh, I have superstar kids. I have superstar kids. Lisa says, we all have superstar kids. And Andy uses a Nene-ism. Andy says, why am I in it? Because Lisa says, Andy, don't you have superstar kids? Andy says, why am I in it? Andy, you got that from Nene Leakes. So we find out Levesque wants more children, but that he wants Kiki to raise his children. Levesque, you didn't finish raising Kiki. If you kicked her out at 15, she had a lot more years to be nurtured and to grow. That's early high school. That's 9th or 10th grade. So Kiki thinks the whole thing is foolishness. I do too, but she is glad to be making up with her dad. Since we're on dads, now they are talking about, he asked Lisa, how did this impact you? We saw you with your dad. She says, I wish that I'd had more time. He just met Elle like a month or two before. I was going to bring him to Miami to meet all my friends, the whole group and everything. And then he passed away. So they show Larsa. Y'all, I might have this out of order. Yeah, I do. Okay. I'll put it here because it's not that important. It kind of is for Lisa, but it's going to come back on next week. Larsa, they show her in Milan saying, if she's getting ready to lose her dad in a day or so, she shouldn't be in Milan. I thought that was really mean. That was actually from a viewer question. So that was terrible. So we get Stephanie. Andy has to focus on Stephanie again, somehow justify this first cheer, which I still don't see. Because I feel like the fireworks, honestly, was, of course, Julia and Guerdy. And then the next set of fireworks was what Julia dropped about her and Adriana. But Stephanie's in the first chair, so he got to go back to her. Stephanie, what did you think about coming in the group, this, that, and the other? We find out that Stephanie was apprehensive meeting Adriana and being around her because, as Stephanie put it, she's always showing her bits, and she also did that thing about Adriana's liver. That was kind of silly. She said, so I was kind of wary of meeting her. And Alexia says, well, she didn't know that they would have a problem. And Adriana pipes up. She says, Alexia is always jealous of the new ladies, especially if they're rich. And Alexia has to never say, that's not true. She says that every year. It's her storyline that I'm jealous of the new, young, rich girls. And then she claps and says, get another storyline. So that was ridiculous. Mama Bees, I've been asking that question. I don't know why Stephanie is in the first chair. We hadn't seen anything yet. I thought maybe there'd be fireworks at her Christmas party, something, because I know when we got the seating chart, everybody was like, Guerdy and Julia had the most going on. We spent the whole season talking about them. But he put Stephanie in first chair. We know Andy likes to be a clout chaser if the person has money or they have a name like Martina. So I'm kind of shocked Julia didn't make first chair unless she's on her way out the door. But with this latest storyline, I don't know. I can still hope. And I hope Martina drop her. I don't care if she do. But when you look at that spousal support and child support, it might be cheaper to keep her. Julia might have played chess. She might have played chess. So next, Andy, let's see, he talked to Kiki, he talked to Lisa. Oh, Stephanie. Stephanie coming into the group. He wants to know why she clashed with Alexia. Alexia correctly says she felt like she could come in and always speak on Todd, which is true. Stephanie did that a lot. A viewer even had a question. It was a funny question. There was a new housewife. I can't remember her name. She was always talking about the plane and always talking about Todd. They were asking about Todd's IG, that 10-minute long video he did. Stephanie is saying, well, she said, the only reason I knew about Todd is that I was at lunch with Larsa, Maddie Saw, also Kiki was there. And Larsa and Maddie Saw were talking about Todd and Alexia and their relationship and how Alexia needed to drop Todd. So Stephanie felt free when she went to Guerdy's party that the Knox magazine threw for her celebration of life party. She felt free to bring up Todd and talk about Todd. And Alexia was still at a place where she was defending everything about Todd. Alexia saying, she didn't even speak to me. She just walked in there and started dragging Todd. And Stephanie says, no, that is not true. Of course I said hi, but I'm with Mama Bees. This still wasn't enough for first chair. Sharon Gobble says, I'm probably the only one, but I like Stephanie. Stephanie has grown on me a little bit. She came in extremely annoying. And I hated I'm going to put my Birkin inside of a Birkin. I can't put a Birkin on the floor. And then the plane. So she was acting like new money, but I think she has earned her second season. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I think she will settle down. And she fits right in with this group because they're over the top. They try to make like that's Guerdy, but every single one of them have time when they're over the top. Look at what just happened with Julia and Adriana. That's crazy. So Kiki, I'm not sure where this fit in, but Kiki is telling us that she's celibate. Kiki, we don't care. I think she said March of last year. And Lisa's like, do you miss the deed? Lisa, that's inappropriate. That's none of your business. Somebody pipes up about toys. I don't like when people try to get funny and cute and too much. That's Kiki's business. So Adriana is talking about Alexia being jealous of Stephanie. They put the camera on Julia, and Julia is staring Adriana down. I can't stand that dark look she does. Honestly, I wouldn't trust Julia at all. She's giving that weird look. So Stephanie is asked by Andy. He says, Stephanie, you got kind of upset when Alexia referred to you as a Chihuahua. If it is not a Chihuahua, what is your spirit animal? We found out it's an Afghan hound. Andy, these are some lightweight questions after what we just went through. After those fireworks, we're talking about a spirit animal. Afghan hounds, evidently they win the Westminster Dog Show every year, and they have long hair, and they're fabulous, and all this kind of stuff. Stephanie, we really don't care. So we find out that Stephanie and Alexia, he's asking both of them, how do you feel to be locked in a battle of the alpha dogs? They really like each other. Alexia is lying that she wasn't jealous. She was a little intimidated and a little jealous. Alexia says, I thought we were going to be fine, but then when she started talking about Todd, I didn't like it. And then when we went to Spain, all that stuff with the plane, we didn't go, so she got mad at us. They claim everything's all right now. Maddie South said something that was telling. It stuck out. She said, I was shocked that Stephanie came in a group and had a problem with bro. I thought that we'd all four be together. Y'all see what she just did? She thought she'd bring Stephanie in, and Stephanie would be on the side of Larsa, Alexia, and Maddie Saw. Stephanie corrects it, and Stephanie actually says, I was leery of Adriana the most because of what they had told me about Adriana. Alexia pipes up. I had a call with Guerdy, and Guerdy was talking about Stephanie and her plane. Guerdy said, I have to interject. I was talking about Stephanie and her plane because I said, I've done nothing to no one, and they're icing me out. Yet Stephanie can come in, curse you up one way and down the other, and you still gonna make up with her because she has a plane. Tell him, Guerdy, that's true. Julia's still looking crazy. Julia was at that lunch too. So we find out that they bring up Kiki again and her celibacy. Maddie Saw has introduced her to a friend of hers, a nice older man, I guess. She's known him 30 years. So Kiki is saying that she is looking forward to going to the Hamptons. She's going to meet this man that Maddie Saw is introducing her to. I believe New Money will settle down. She's laughing. I think she will too. I think Stephanie's going to be formidable as a housewife. I wish Andy hadn't pushed her into the first chair because I don't know anybody saying, yeah, Stephanie had a season. She deserved first chair. She's a new housewife. We were interested. I still am interested in her life. She's brought up the sisters all season. Masood trying to stay in the cut. So I want to know what's going on with Masood. Because remember the first part of the reunion, he was asking about Masood. A viewer asked a question about how they even met. Stephanie said there's no proof that she met him when he was married, this, that, and the other. So I think some more stuff's going to come out about Stephanie, but she'll kind of have her feet up under her as far as Real Housewives. She'll be in her sophomore season, and I think she'll get it together a little. I think she will settle down. Dear Yvette is saying what I think. I want Larsa gone. She brings nothing but her lips. That's it. And a new man. You've been with somebody for 8 months. He's telling her we'll probably be engaged by the end of the year. She's talking about freezing eggs for more kids. A doctor would just be taking Larsa's money. 51-year-old eggs. Girl, stop. You know, girl, a girl baby, you have all the eggs you're gonna have at birth. And then as you get older, some women stay fertile longer, but in your mid-30s, they call that a geriatric pregnancy. In the mid-30s. So what's it looking like at 51? Larsa's just a fool. Julia is an evil 304. She absolutely is. She's sitting over there salty now because the attention has gone off her. She dropped this bomb, and now we talk about everybody else instead of this Adriana Julia situation. Guerdy has to accept that they don't like her. I wish she would. I don't know why she's trying so hard. Every time Andy asks somebody something, when they focus on Guerdy, she's like, yep. This is why she gets on their nerves. It doesn't bother me because I know people like that. They have to have their voice heard. And then when we know about her past and being unheard, her and her brother coming to the States and not having, well, they were with family, but just kind of extras in the family. Like, y'all better be quiet because your parents have left you here with us and they didn't really want him there. So now Guerdy has been living her whole life trying to fit in, trying to be one of the crowd. That's why her being excluded hurt her so much. And it hurt me to watch too. It was really cruel. And another reason why I want Marisol gone. Alexia can stay. I feel like Alexia would be kind of like the Green-Eyed Bandits. When they split up Robin and Giselle, you can kind of see more fun side of Giselle. Even when, remember they took the yachts out and they had the Kiki yacht and they had the Larsa in them yacht. When Lisa and them went in there and they 007, they were spraying them. Marisol was acting like she was going to melt. She was like, stop. And Alexia was laughing so hard. Alexia's had as much work as Marisol, so I don't know why she was upset, but I think we'd get a fun Alexia. So honestly, we could lose Julia. We could lose Marisol. Larsa could go too. She's not bringing a lot. Yvette said they scrambled a powdered one. Now I'm 54, so Larsa, I'm not age shaming you. I'm also not threatening to freeze any eggs, okay? This is crazy. So we are now back at the part where why they keep panning to her? She really has a dark, mad look. Stephanie and Alexia, I think they're going to be friends. Marisol's not bringing much at all. Production keeps showing us Stephanie as she came in. Andy says that the ladies kind of need to blow off a little bit of steam. He says, show us. Marisol is a witch just like her mom. They used to say that about Mama Elsa. She looked reincarnated over there in Larsa. The look starts to get more and more. It looks crazy. And yes, I agree with Sharon. She should have been gone. So Andy wants them to blow off steam. This is after the Stephanie Alexia segment. They don't have any real beef. Once Stephanie apologized for talking about Todd, now we have found out that Marisol and Larsa were the ones talking about Todd in front of Stephanie as a new person. I think Alexia and Stephanie are going to be okay. And Stephanie said, I was warned against Adriana, and now I find out she's the sweetest one, and I love all of the girls. I don't know about love, but I think she can get along with all the girls, and none of them have a real issue with her. So I'm with Sharon. I think she'll settle down and have a good second season. So Andy says, you need to blow off a little steam. Show us how to do that. I'm Alexia. So they all do that. Guerdy didn't do it. She was kind of laughing with them. And Adriana's doing it. We needed that. I'm Alexia. So Adriana's saying Alexia is a girl that runs around calling herself a star. And Larsa was saying, I was shocked that they got into it because it would be brutal to go toe to toe. Everybody else's story. Larsa is talking about everybody else's story. Andy pans over to Lisa. He had the nerve to ask Lisa, was she is Jody or she's still following Marcus? Andy, corny. We found out during the season they're no longer following Marcus. Production shows us Larsa giving that tired line. You're a groupie. You used to follow a Jordan, now you follow Pippen, or something crazy like that. Used to follow Pippen, now you follow Jordan. Larsa is saying something about, I bought my own house. I did all of this. I think she's trying to throw off on Lisa. I was married at 22. I didn't have anybody pay for my apartment. I think she's trying to make Lisa look like she's living off her settlement or something. If she is, so what? I think Lisa and Lenny have been married 14 years. I don't know, maybe 10 years. They've got 2 children. So I don't know why Larsa makes like her life with Scotty is bigger and better than everyone's life. And Jeff, you should be concerned about that she still needs to live off Scottie Pippen's name. All them kids are grown. She said they're all stars. They're all grown. So she's got one in the league. One of the Scottie Pippen Jr. is actually in the NBA. He's playing and Jeff's not. So this is crazy. So also I put in here, Alexia didn't like that. That was true. When Stephanie brought that up, that Marisol and Larsa were talking about Todd, and that's why she felt free to do so, they panned to Alexia, and Alexia had a straight face. So I wonder if Alexia and Marisol are going to have problems. I hope we're not there to see it because I want her to go. They playing basketball with Larsa. She's being passed around like a 304. She sure enough is. And been in the game a long time. Anytime you end up with your ex-husband's teammate's son, you pretty, you've been out there a pretty long time, Jeff. 31 years old. Larsa's been messing around at least that long. She said she was married at 22. She's now 51. So yeah, she got a good 3 decades in the game. Actually, he would be more age appropriate with her daughter than with her. And I don't even know how old the daughter is. I think she's at least in her mid-20s by now. So next, let's see. They go off of Stephanie. Oh, they brought up the plane dangling again. Alexia brought that up. They settled that. Oh, New Money gives this long story about show and tell. I didn't know that it would be bad. Anytime you're in a Super Bowl, you're proud of it. They show the rings. And then she said something about, you got to realize when you have a plane and you tell another person with the plane, they're happy for you. But when you tell the guy, I've got a plane and he doesn't have a plane, they're not happy for you. Stephanie, I'm happy for you. I'm happy Stephanie has a private plane. I got tired of hearing about it. I'm happy about her Birkins. I got tired of hearing about those. Now, Alexia and them, I think, were jealous, but we don't want to hear Stephanie talk about that. We had Dr. Nicole on this very platform. She had a private plane. She didn't talk about it all the time. She didn't make the ladies choose. She had seats for everyone. When she comes in, she puts her Birkin on the table. Production tells us the price, and she doesn't go yelling about it. So once Stephanie learns how to do that, she'll be good. Oh, excuse me. Her daughter's 16. I apologize. Let me not put this little 16-year-old baby with a 31-year-old. Scratch that. So Scottie Pippen Jr. is in his 20s, and Preston, the one we met in Milan, he's maybe 22 or so. He's closer in age to Jeff, but he's a boy. Thank you for correcting me. All right, so Guerdy clarifies that she's not talking about Stephanie. Y'all, Kiki pipes up out of nowhere. Kiki looks beautiful, but the more she talks, sometimes I don't know if she's playing dumb or if she really is that silly. One thing that I wanted to bring up, because it's all over the online, none of the ladies are racist. It could be a class thing, but as far as for me and all of the ladies, they're not racist and I'm not racist. The camera goes to Guerdy and Guerdy's looking at her like, girl, shut up. Kiki, you are Black, even though you are a Haitian immigrant. Guerdy's also a Haitian immigrant. Neither one of you are racist or could be racist, but don't speak for a white Cuban, which is half the stage, or a white Brazilian, Adriana, as to whether or not they can be racist. They actually can. I will say I've seen microaggressions from all of them, maybe something a little bit deeper with Marisol, because Mama Elsa was kind of suspect, some of the comments that she would make. I didn't care for Mama Elsa. Rest in peace to Mama Elsa, but I didn't care for her. So let's see what else we have. Larsa is giving that read. Oh, Andy goes back to Lisa after he's asking her about whether or not she still follows. They go back and forth a little bit. Lisa, why are you not bringing up Ye and the fact that Larsa lost her very, very valued friendship with the Kardashians after she transfigured herself to kind of look like Kim? They stopped talking to her because she wouldn't stop accepting Ye's calls. And she'd be on the phone with him all night into the wee hours. What were they talking about? We know Ye's a freak, allegedly, and in my opinion. So what were they talking about, y'all? Why didn't Lisa bring that up? Or did they bring it up and they cut it out? I don't know. So let's see. Andy wanted to know, Lisa, what did you mean by everyone knows what Larsa is? Production puts that in. Larsa cursing Lisa out in her own house. Lisa saying, we left a real party to deal with your fake relationship. And Larsa saying, it's not no fake relationship, B. And Lisa rightfully kicked her out. Larsa took too long to leave. Kiki chased her down to the street. You're beautiful. You're this, you're that. That whole scene was ridiculous. So Andy wants to know, what did ChatGPT say? Stephanie looks it up. So Stephanie looks it up, and it didn't sound too bad. It says that she's polarizing. It said that some people pretty much are 50-50 on Larsa. She says, thank you. Thank you. I'll take that. Larsa Pippen is delusional, y'all. I guess that's why they keep her around. You can't insult her. You know she's heard all that stuff about her, the work she's had done, these young men freezing these 51-year-old eggs. You know, Larsa doesn't care. She does not care. So then we go back to next week where the viewer, this is the preview, the viewer was asking whether or not Larsa was too harsh when she stated Lisa shouldn't be in Milan with her dad on his last legs and possibly his deathbed. It's puzzling that Larsa never talks about her ethnicity. None of them do. She's the same as they're Persian. She's the same as the Kardashians. There was a Persian on this year King's Court, Sarah, the one that Tyson Beckford got rid of when he heard she used to go with R. Kelly, in the thick of his cases, claiming she didn't know nothing about it. I didn't know anything about it. Persians supposed to make these great wives and all this kind of stuff. What they do, they love black men. They love that transfer of wealth that they get to do, but they don't claim any of the. Larsa would claim because she sleep with black men that she doesn't do microaggressions and all that stuff. But I see something in her I don't care for. I see something in Kim I don't care for. The only one that's really kind of not like that to me is Chloe. I don't know, maybe because they used to say OJ was her daddy. I don't know. Mama B says, when Cubans, Brazilians of the light persuasion always choose to assimilate with white folks, hint why they voted for the orange man. You see, that band had a whole song, and the song was kind of a bop. I rebut. Let it down there crying. They want an exception made for them. They already had the exception, and they threw it back in Joe Biden's face. Now look. Sharon Gabo. Kiki is two-faced. She's playing for the other team, but they'll never accept her into their group. She's a clown to them. Yes, and we think Kiki is fabulous. But honestly, some of the people that come here from other places, Haiti, Jamaica, you listen to a lot of the Africans, Nigerians are notorious for this. They think they are better, in my opinion, than African Americans, American blacks. I don't use the foundational term because I found out a whole group try to take that over, but I know what they mean. American descendants of slavery. We're African as well. Mama B's is laughing. Yeah, he pulled that bait and switch on him, but he really didn't. He told them exactly what he was going to do. They didn't want to hear it. David said she was on Shots of Sunset, Sarah, and she told Reza. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, if the person has enough clout or enough name, now, if you bring a black plumber or electrician or teacher, I don't think they're dating or marrying any of them. You bring some money, you're a famous singer or you're a sports athlete or something like that, they'll take you. I know, Cece. I can't get that song out of my head. Can't get it out of my head. The lady, the lead, she was screaming and crying over either her husband or daddy. Somebody got scooped up. That's not funny. I DM you something. Oh, thank you. I'll look at it today, Cece. Is it of the Housewives persuasion or political discourse? You can just put it in the chat. So the left side of Andy, Oh, this is the preview, y'all, because we ended the episode. The left side of Andy, I put the plastic face bros. I include Alexia in that. Alexia, Marisol, and Larsa. We see Marisol complaining, and I'm almost have to get surgery on my knees because of what Adriana said. We get Adriana crying. Do you think it's hard not to age or hard to age? Adriana, we don't care. You look good for any age. You look particularly good for your age. We don't want to hear it. You whacked Kiki, she whacked you back, and that's it. Production zooms in on the knees, y'all. The knees look all right to me, and she wore her knees out. So how upset are you about it, Marisol? I think Marisol wants to get more work done anyway, and she's going to blame Adriana. Housewives. Oh, okay, that sounds good. Thank you. I may do a Sandra Pease Gen Extra, or I may just put it in with one of the other ones. We got 3 still going because we have another episode of this for the last reunion. We have Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and then we have Real Housewives of Potomac. So I'll look at what the news is and I can squeeze that in. Thank you so much, Cece. Dear Yvette says, my sister is a nurse at Howard Hospital in DC. And she said that the African nurses treat the American nurses like crap. Dear Yvette, my sister is a nurse's assistant and she has had that problem. She's been at it about 14 years. They really get into it. The one time they actually had a male Nigerian nurse, he was brought before HR. He was so horrific. But the women are bad enough. They talk down to them. They won't lift a finger. And they always want to be covered when they go back to Nigeria for 6 and 8 weeks at a time. A mess. Sharon Gabo said if those knees could talk, I know, what would they say? But we've seen Marisol in short dresses, short skirts. I think Marisol is very stylish. When they had the tennis thing at her house or whatever that was, the preppy thing, she was in something short. I'm not buying it. And Adriana, what you looking at this lady knees for? I did laugh. Dry, wrinkled knees. Dear Yvette, I love your coverage. Thank you. I appreciate it. I like to bring in old stuff, new stuff, and then I might just have something off the top of my head. So that was the end of it, y'all. That was the preview. They're laughing. I'm going to get in my DMs and look at this news. Anybody get my DMs? Let me know if anybody's going to Winter Wonderland, thrown by the wonderful Melody Cherie. Let me know. And again, that was it. That is all. Everybody's still laughing. Try to get that bop out of your head. Let me know because I can't. Tabitha Speaks Politics. If you're interested in any type of political discourse, she had a video where she was doing the whole salsa, playing it. She's a mess. She is so funny. I get a lot of news from her too. So thank you for joining me for Sandra Pease Gen Extra. This is the Real Housewives of Miami. This is the live review part 2. And I will be here tomorrow. I got to figure out which one. I think it's the Golden Bachelor. Y'all, all these shows are running together, but that's another good one. Some of us in here are watching. So thank you. I appreciate the compliment, dear Yvette. Mama Bees, my moderator. Sharon Gabo, an A1 day one, along with Mama Bees, along with Cece. Thank you so much. Thanks for the information. I'll go in there and look. All of you enjoy the rest of your Friday. Happy Friday. And I will see you possibly in the YouTube streets. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.